Welcome to Spiritual Awakening family. I am going to throw in an absolute statement here in a form of an opinion, one that I don't like doing much, but I truly feel rather strongly about this. But I personally believe that there comes a point in life where people should not enter any form of relationship without undergoing the necessary in-depth self-introspection. If there ought to be a law out there about relationships, it would be that no one should be allowed to enter one without having the necessary self-awareness. It has become more and more apparent to me that the percentage of people that I personally meet in my life lacks a great deal in the self-awareness department. They think they know who they are, what they want, what makes them tick, and how they are feeling, but boy do they turn out to be wrong about themselves. Most people play a good game in being able to deceive themselves and then others. They try to control how they feel or what they want, and when they finally suffocate from the charade they have forced themselves to play, they walk away and feel a huge sense of relief, often leaving behind someone in the dark trying to make sense of everything. I have a friend of mine who is currently going through a breakup. She has been with her partner for a bit over 2 years now. Her friends have been sensing that she is struggling for a little over a year now, but when asked how she was, she would smile and say that she is completely fine. He has been neglecting her for a while, not because he doesn't love her or doesn't want her, he is genuinely crazy about her, but because he has a lazy personality that just doesn't make the effort to court her anymore. He has become completely comfortable that he started to take her for granted. He can cancel on her as much as he wants and blame his work or his health, and she would just contain her frustration and just say that's fine. A lot of her friends thought he was cheating on her, but I know the man, and that couldn't be further than the truth. He just had a rough job and would rather just slouch at home and do nothing after his shift than make the effort to do anything else in his life. He became rather careless about everything in his life, and not just his girlfriend, but he was comforted by the fact that she was there, and always thanked her for being understanding during his difficult period of his life. But this difficult period has stretched to over a year and a half now, and this seems to be a habit of his, and his girlfriend would always repress her frustration and say I understand, when in reality, she really didn't. Now, she is totally fed up from having to run after the man, and has completely called it quits, and the poor man is suffering greatly from her decision to back out. On the surface, you would automatically sympathize with my friend and say that she deserves a lot better than this kind of treatment, and that is absolutely correct. You may also say that his suffering is out of his own doing, and I would agree with you, to an extent. I believe that she was as much of a problem in this relationship as he was. This act of repressing frustration, even though she had the best intentions in doing it, is what ultimately caused her complete breakdown and is what led to the extreme confusion her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend was feeling. Truth of the matter what? She felt neglected, and hated the fact that she felt neglected, so she denied the fact that she was being neglected. Whether or not he was intentionally neglecting her is irrelevant, he wasn't, but the painful truth is that he brought up intense feelings of vulnerability in her, that she just decided to ignore. To him, she was the perfect girlfriend who completely understood his passive and withdrawn character, and even though would have frustrations here and there, is ultimately on board with it and somewhat in love with it. Little did he know that she hated her life because of it and would hold back the tears as she tried to sleep. She couldn't allow herself to admit to herself that she was in pain, because she just didn't want to feel so weak, and therefore never properly communicated her feelings and insecurities to him. She didn't realize that insecurities like these are nothing to be ashamed of, and by admitting them to ourselves and our partners, then we embrace our vulnerability and therefore form a stronger bond. But with her limited knowledge of the law of attraction, kept self-talking herself into thinking that all is fine and she is happy. Had she, from the first time she felt this frustration, explored the feeling and emotion and communicated it to him as soon as it surfaced, one of two things could have happened. He would have realized this right away and found a way to both open up to each other and build a synergized space where they could both grow and evolve together, or broke up sooner when they both realized that this isn't working. Reality of what is going to happen now, that after 2 years or him feeling that he has a solid backbone, she is going to disappear, take a short while to shake him off and move on. Since she was feeling rather frustrated in the relationship, she will most probably feel free after it is over, and he would be left with the pain to try to make sense of what happened. He will utterly be devastated, and this may affect his life in a permanent way depending on how genuinely he truly had feelings for her. In the eyes of many, it was his fault for letting things decay the way they did, but in reality, she needed to have admitted her feelings to herself much earlier on. What will most likely happen is that she will get over the situation rather fast, and he will be left with a more psychological battle that he may or may not learn from in the long run. The above example features someone who I feel has a lot more self-awareness and a good heart within her than most of the people I know, but she lacked enough to honor her own feelings. She felt by stepping on herself that she was being a good girlfriend, not realizing that this road would ultimately lead to his devastation. There are many other examples of individuals in relationships doing the nastiest things to one another just because they lack the understanding of what makes them tick from the inside. Any moment where someone says something that they don't really mean but just got caught up in the heat of the moment and then slightly regrets it the next day is a reflection of rather poor self-awareness and self-mastery. I believe that people must have enough understanding over their emotions to know which feelings and sensations are genuine and truly heartfelt, and which are induced by seduction, wine, and late-night horniness. The recipient of the heat of the moment exchange, which can be sex, a passionate kiss, or a premature declaration of "I love you" / "You are the best thing that has ever happened to me" / "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," usually has little reason to doubt their partner's intentions, and would allow the beautiful moment to emerge between them, giving them such a crushing blow when said partner walks away a short while later claiming that they didn't really mean what they said, or "Oh, it was just in the heat of the moment / my feelings changed." If you, dear reader, ever catch yourself telling your partner that your feelings changed rather suddenly, then you should always take a step back and realize that you have a rather serious self-awareness issue. Feelings, if genuine, do not change suddenly. Even in rather extreme cases where a partner is abusive, it takes time to register, and also, there are a lot of warning signs that the partner is abusive before partner actually starts becoming abusive. Sudden shifts are rather rare. It is your responsibility to make sure whether or not your feelings are genuine before expressing them, and your responsibility to make sure you do not get caught up in the heat of the moment and say things that you don't truly mean. Sometimes, withdrawing from a relationship from your partner after telling her or him all the things that they have been dreaming to hear and just walking away is a fate worse than murder. It may take them a long time coming to terms with how you just suddenly disappeared from their lives without warning, and if they are ever able to revert to their former selves before dating you, they will be walking around with a huge scar and heavy emotional baggage. Yes, it is true that it is up to them to make the best of the breakup situation, but let's not kid ourselves and disregard your role in their misery, all because you never took the time to invest in becoming self-aware. I've seen too many examples of these situations, where relationships would start on a high for a few months and then suddenly and inexplicably one partner just runs away. Relationships would build on for years and years and then one partner would just become jealous over something silly and swiftly walks out. People who would want to break up and not exactly know why, stating their partner a reason like timing, and then said partner finds out after months or years of agony that the reason was something else entirely. Partners who would break up amicably and promise each other that they would stay close friends from the very beginning, and then one of the pair would freak out when the other starts dating and just disappears. Couples cheating on one another after years of marriage because of lack of communication/intimacy/ trying to find oneself in the arms of someone else, etc. All of these examples and more are all products of lack of self-awareness. If one is to enter a relationship and affect someone else's life, the least thing they could do is spend the time to truly get to know themselves and communicate effectively. Too often people are trying to escape or rebel against who they really are, not realizing that by doing that they could really hurt the people they are with and the people who love them the most. I know that relationships are often a vessel to allow us to rediscover ourselves, and a lot of our emotional baggage that keeps us from becoming fully self-aware and engage in self-mastery happens at a really young age, where we are not mature enough to understand this intricate concept of self-introspection. Children have no idea the profound effect they have on each other's psychological development, let alone parents or young loves. We inadvertently screw each other up at a rather young age, and spend lifetimes trying to heal such mental and emotional screw-ups. However, there comes a time where this is no longer acceptable, where we have supposedly grown enough to know what we want, what makes us tick, why we feel the way we feel, and how we feel about others. I am starting to believe that the sum of the harshest evil man can do stems from lack of self-awareness. There is mercy in killing, but none in scaring a fellow human being and allowing her or him to live the rest of their lives with such pain. We need to be more aware of ourselves. We need to engage in daily self-introspection and face the demons that we have been hiding from all our lives, before we unleash them onto the poor souls who want nothing but to get close to us and know whom we truly are. We also need to get closer to us and discover who we truly are. What do we stand for? What do we want? And how vast is our potential? We need to explore our subconscious mind on a daily basis, and learn to love all the parts of ourselves we continuously deny. We need to understand why we are the way we are, and thus help transform ourselves into what we want to become. We need to be true masters of self and engage with the rest of the world in our purest form. The more we postpone this, the more people we hurt along the way. The universe and karma won't accept the excuse that we did not mean to hurt those we hurt along our path, as it has given us plenty opportunities to engage in self-mastery. We were just too scared to take the plunge. Shame on us. I hope you like the video. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to check out the other uploads.